Okay, today we will discuss about the image formation in convex mirror as well as some sign conventions also, and uses of concave mirror also. Right, in the last video we have discussed how the image formed in the concave mirror. So please, those who have not seen the first video, please go and watch it. So now we will see the convex mirror and image formation also. Okay, right. So you know that this is the convex mirror. Why convex mirror? Because the bulged part is a reflecting one, and this is the principal axis. As already in the first video we have discussed that why it is a converging lens. Everything we have discussed. Those who have not seen, please go and see it. And just we are going to see the image formation in convex mirror. This is the pole, this is the focal point, this is the center of curvature, right? And the rules for the formation of images in convex mirror. This is convex mirror, okay. So that we will see now. You know that this is the principal axis, this is the principal axis. A ray which is parallel to the principal axis will reflect back like this, and when you extend it, it will pass through the focal point. See here, it will pass through the focal point, right? And this is the first rule. Second rule, suppose, see here, suppose x dash p, am I right? Focal point and center of curvature. Suppose a ray which is passing through the focal point, suppose a ray is falling like this, then the reflected ray will be parallel to the principal axis. This is the second case. Okay, sir. Then third one, here only we will see in the third one, we will see here only. Third rule, a ray which is coming here like this, which is falling in the point P and forming an angle, for example angle I. You take angle I, which is an incident angle, and suppose this angle I may be 30 degree. With the same degree, reflected ray will come back with forming the same degree, that is 30 degree only. The reflected angle will be 30 degree only, like this. This is the third one. Okay, fourth one we will see here. Fourth one I will take it from this one, or otherwise I will rub it. So these three cases please do remember, because to form the image in the convex mirror we need these rules. Okay, right. Fourth one I will show you here. So why I am not using the duster? Because that forms like little bit of, you know, this kind of whitishness. That's why I am using the cloth here, right? I am using the cloth. See here. Okay. Fourth case, just see here. Fourth case. What is this? Convex mirror. This is a pole, this is the focal point, and this is the center of curvature. Suppose a ray which is passing through the center of curvature, see here, passing through the center of curvature, if it comes and falls like this, so it will go back in the same direction. Understood? This is the case number 4. So all these 4 rules you just have to remember. Okay, one more point why we have to study these concave and convex mirrors. I tell you the uses also. Applications of these mirrors we will see. Okay, so first we will see the image formation in convex mirror, right? Okay, then let me see the image formation in convex mirror. So suppose an object is at infinite distance. See here, A, B at infinite distance. Then you know that a parallel rays which are parallel to the principal axis coming and hitting on the mirror, and you can see here that is reflecting back like this. Okay, and if you extend these radiations, these rays, they will come and meet at the point of P. In focal point they will meet, and you will get very diminished. See here, A dash, B dash, it is very diminished, erect a virtual image, because you are not going to hold, you are not going to catch the image inside the mirror. Just like a plane mirror, here also you are not going to catch this image inside the mirror. That's why the image formed is virtual. Second one, erect. Third one, inside the mirror. Inside the mirror, where position is, if the object is at infinite distance, then position is at focal point. At focal point. Okay. So this is one case. Second case I will take here itself only. Which lens it is? Of course, convex mirror. Sorry, not lens, mirror. So here P, F and C. Okay. Just I will bring the object just a little bit near to the pole, then or a mirror. This is the radiation parallel to the principal axis. Reflect back like this, pass through the focal point. Rules as we just studied, 4 rules. The same rule I am applying here. Here, just see here. This is the reflected ray, incident ray. IR, RR, angle, incident angle, refractive angle. Both are equal, right? So this reflected ray, if you just extend it like this here, you will get an image here which is smaller than this is A, B, A dash, B dash. You get the image smaller than the object, and that is also same virtual, erect. Do remember, if you find a erect image, that will be always virtual only. You cannot able to catch that image on the screen. That we call it as a virtual image. Okay. And inside the mirror, but the position is between. Fourth one only I am going to write here, between P and F. Okay. So wherever you place the object here, in this point, always you will get the image between these two only, and image will be smaller than the object only. Getting my point? Only these two cases, means the places of object at infinite distance and near to the mirror. Only in these two cases we will study the image formation, and even if you take here, wherever you take, you will get the image between P and F, and that too smaller than the object, virtual, erect. Understood? That's why, this is the reason why we are using the convex mirror in the rear view mirror in the vehicles. You know that in the bikes and the cars we are using the mirrors to view the rear view, right? There we are using the concave mirror. Why? Because there we are getting the small image, erect image, small image, erect image, and suppose, see here, suppose a thing is here, it will cover up to this much. So it covers a broader area, right? That's why you just go and check it, your the vehicle mirror or your car or bike mirror, you will come to know that its surface is convex. Why convex? Because you will get the virtual image, erect image and smaller image. The car, bus maybe which are coming behind you, or a bigger one, and those all things you are seeing it in a smaller images forms, in the smaller image forms. Understood? That's why we are using the convex mirror applications. I am telling you, or the uses of convex mirror. First use, convex mirror is used to view the rear view. Okay, to view the rear view in a vehicles. That's why as a rear view mirror we are using the convex mirror. First thing. Second thing, in the street light you might have seen these type of halogen bulbs they will place, and there they will use the convex surface. Suppose there is a light like this, and the radiations are falling like this, right, and they will be spreading like this. They will cover the maximum down area. They will provide more. They will cover the more area to give a light. Understood? That's why these two are the uses of concave mirror. sorry, convex mirror, I am sorry, convex mirror. Okay, now we will see the uses of concave mirror. Uses of concave mirror. So you know that the dentist will use the concave mirror, and the workers who are working in the mining, those are using the concave mirrors, and the ophthalmologist will use the concave mirror. Of course, even our vehicle headlights, in the headlights and in the batteries we are using the in the torch we are using the concave reflectors, mirrors only, right? So see here, suppose this is the concave mirror. In the headlight you people might have seen, and here we will place a bulb like this, and light will go, light radiation will go like this, and they will come here like this. So it travels in such a way that it will give a clear visibility in a night time. That's why in the vehicles headlights, and even in the torch and in these two things, and even in the solar cooker we are using. Why? Because solar cooker will receive the light like this, and there we are using the this converging mirror. Why? Because to converge the rays at a one point, so we are using this concave mirror. Okay, then, so where all we are using the concave mirrors? First one is in the vehicle's headlight, second one in the solar cooker, okay, third one in the torches, fourth one the dentist will use this concave mirror to get the enlarged image of a teeth. Okay, you people might have seen this type of a mirror will be there which is having a long handle, right? They will see the, suppose the teeth are there here, they will see the long bigger image of a teeth like this. Understood? So they will use it, and those who are working in a mines, they will have the headlights like this, so that they are moving in a darker area and they need to focus on a particular area. There they are using the this type of concave mirrors. Okay, this is what the uses of concave mirrors. Understood? Okay, all right. Next, what we will see, the sign conventions and formula. Okay, right, sir. See here, and you know that in the graph, suppose if I draw a graph, you always call this is the x dash, and y dash. So this is the 0. This side always you count it into a in the positive only, +1, +2, +3, +4 like this. So in the x dash side you will count it into -1, -2, -3. In the y side you will count it into 1, 2, 3, 4. And in the y dash side you will count -1, -2, -3, -4 like this. You will count the any numbers. So here also we will apply this graph method in the image and object distance measurement. Okay, right. This is, what is this? Pole. Then F focus. This is center of curvature. Tell me which mirror it is. Very good. Which mirror? Concave. Why? The cave surface. The cave surface is a reflecting one. Okay. Suppose I have placed a object here. I have placed a object here. See, and always we have to measure the distance from the P. I tell you the object distance. If they ask you the object distance, then you have to measure from the P. So if you are going this side, so this side means that will be in negative. If you are going in this side, that will be positive, right? So that means first we will give a sign to it. U is the object distance. So this is same for the both the mirror, even convex mirror also same one. U is the object distance. That also I will draw you here. Okay, this is the object distance, right? F and C. All right, sir. And one more we will take here like this. This reflects back through the F. Once again, this will also reflect back through the and reflects back and parallel to the principal axis. We already studied it in the image formation. See here, this is what you got a image formation here. Same like that also here, right? So one more I will take here. This is the object distance. Here you will get the image, right? So this distance from the P, this distance we call it as a image distance. From the P, this distance we call it as a V. V is the image distance. Getting my point? This side always we have to count it in negative. This side you have to count it in positive. Same like that only. Here you have to count it positive. This side you have to count it in a this is negative, this is positive, right? Positive. That means in the concave, in the convex, you are getting the image in the plus side. That means here you have to take the value of image negatively, object, value of object or the distance of the object in negative only. Here you have to take in minus, V you have to take in plus in convex mirror. Please do remember it. And you know that distance between this and P is F. This is F. Focal, very good. Focal length. Someone is saying that, I am listening you. Focal length. Sir, is there any relation between this, sir? Of course, there is a relation. And here also we are taking this one. See, minus. Here we are taking it plus. Focal length is plus that side. Understood? Okay. If a numericals comes and they are mentioning that in the convex mirror, then you have to take the values in plus, that too image distance and focal length. Only the object distance you have to take it in negative. And if they have used the concave mirror, these are all will be in the negatives only. Take the values in the negatives. Okay. So you will come to know once if you solve one or two problems on this. So we will solve the problems on this and we will make a separate video for that. Okay. All right. Relations, sir. Okay, we will see the relation. I will write the relation here. I will rub it. I will write the relation here only, because here I think a video may not, or the camera may not cover it. Okay. All right. This is F in positive. This is what you have to consider these things. Any relations are between this one? Yes, there is a relation. 1 by F is equal to 1 by V plus 1 by U. This is the relation. This is the formula for mirror to both the formula. Sorry, to both the mirrors. Understood? So that means whenever a problems comes on this, please consider this formula for the mirror. Getting my point? Okay, sir. And here you know that this is A, B, this is A dash, B dash. A, B, A dash, B dash. You are finding that there is a decrease in the size of the image, right? So how do you find out that? That we will find out by taking the formula like this, magnification. We call that as a magnification. Is it diminished or enlarged? Right, that we call it as a magnification. Magnification is nothing but this we will take is H1 and this one we will take it as a H2. H1, H2. H1 and H2. Okay, sir. So then magnification means what, sir? Simply H2 divided by H1. Height of the image divided by height of the object. That gives you the magnification, whether it is diminished or enlarged, like that. Okay. Next, for the magnification itself only, you can take one more formula, that is V by U. V by U. So getting my point? So that is magnification V by U, but we will use one sign here, that is minus V by U. These are the formulas for the concave and convex mirror. I hope you have understood, and even we have studied the uses of concave and uses of convex mirror also. Understood? Okay. So this is the formula. Please do remember this, and the derivation for the formula we will study it in the higher class, in the first PU or second PU. Understood? Okay. So that's all about the reflection part, and we will move on to the refraction. Okay. So as we already discussed, what is refraction? So when light moves from the one medium to another medium, we know that it simply bends, okay, or changes its path. It simply changes its propagative path or its a traveling path. That we call it as a refraction. Okay, right. For that I will take an example, and you all know that you are very familiar with the refraction. If you take a glass and pour water into it, and if you place any pen or a pencil, and if you see it in the in this view, so you will see that there is a bending of pen or a pencil or a scale, whichever object you have placed in that water filled glass, there you will find there will be a bending of the pen or the object. Same like that only, if you see the a coin which is placed in the water filled glass, if you see it in a perpendicular view, so you will get the exact place of the coin. Or if you see it in the in this view or in the cross view, you find that there will be a little bit displacement, or there will be a little bit place change in the position of, or the place change in the place of a coin, change in the place of coin, like this you will find. So those are all the common phenomena, you all have seen it in the day-to-day life. Understood, right? Okay, so what is refraction? Refraction is a phenomena where light moves from one medium to another medium. It changes its propagative medium. Its propagative means it's a traveling direction. It's a propagative direction or traveling direction. What is refraction? When light moves from one medium to another medium, it changes its propagative path. Propagative means traveling path. Say for example, this is the air medium, and light is traveling into glass. Light is traveling into glass. So then see, the radiation should move like this only, but it simply changed its path of direction. Path of direction, that itself we call it as a refraction. Okay, alright. And here we call this air medium as a rarer medium, and we call this as the denser medium. Okay, and I take this as the glass slab now. Take this as the glass slab. So this is the incident ray. This is the refracted ray. It comes here. And from the glass medium, once again it is moving into the air medium. What it will do? Simply, it once again changes its path. Okay, and we call this as the emergent ray. This is the original ray. This is the original incident ray, first incident ray it was, isn't it? It was the first incident ray. So sir, then this on the refraction in the glass slab, we will do some, or we will take some laws of the refraction. Okay, so see here, this is the incident ray and this is the incident point. On that point, if I draw a normal like this, take that as a n dash, and take this as a AO, right, and this is the OB, right, OB, and here also I will draw a normal like this. This I will take it as a M dash. Understood? M dash. Okay, sir. One more point. Here you can find a light is moving from, this is A, O, B, and B C we will write, okay, BC. Light is moving from a air medium to glass medium, or rarer medium to denser medium, rarer to denser. Then you just see here the refracted ray bending towards the normal. See here, bending towards the normal. When a light ray moving from rarer medium to denser medium, light will bend towards the normal. And you just observe here, when a ray of or a light ray passing from the glass means denser medium to rarer medium, you just see here the refracted ray move away from the normal. This point you please do remember, please remember it, okay. All right, so on this base only we will see the two laws of refraction. First law, what is that first law? Here it forms an angle, we call this as the incident angle. Here it forms a angle, we call this as the refractive angle. R. I is a incident angle, okay. R is the refractive angle. If I draw like this, that will be an indication for angle, okay, right. Which forms the incident angle? Incident ray and a normal. So these two rays will form the incident angle. Which forms the refractive angle? Refracted ray and the normal. These two will form the refractive angle, okay, right. So the first law we will see in the refraction. First law of refraction is also called as Snell's law, okay. All right, what it says, simply sine of angle of I and sine of angle of R, its ratio is always constant for the given pair of medium, that is the first law of refraction. Even we call that as a Snell's law. So we are not understanding what is this. I will tell you what is this, just a minute, you can understand. So sine I by sine R, or sine of angle of I and the ratio of sine of angle of I and sine of angle of R is always constant for the given pair of medium. Means what, sir? Suppose we have taken a pair of medium, one is air, another one is glass. I will draw the same here. This is air, this is glass, incident ray, normal, angle, this is also R. I call this as I1, this is the R1. Here I will take one more angle, this is I, this is R2, I2 we will take, and you can take one more like this, I3 and R3. So if you take the value of sine I1 by sine R1, sine I2 by sine R2, sine I3 by sine R3, you will get the value that is 1.5 only. Its ratio is also 1.5, its ratio is 1.5, its ratio is 1.5. That means, so for the given pair of medium, the ratio of sin I to the sin R is constant, and this constant we call this as a refractive index. Okay, we show it by the sign called mu. In some books they will give you like this or like this, but we will follow this one. Understood? So this is the first law. First law is also called as Snell's law. What is Snell's law? So the ratio of sin I and sin R is constant for the given pair of medium, suppose instead of glass, air and glass, if I take a air and a water, this value will be sin I by sin R will be 1.3, sin I2 by R2 will be 1.3, sin I3 by R3 will be 1.3, like this. 1.33 you can take 1.31. Instead of water, if I take a ice, then it will be 1.31, 1.33, 1.33, 1.33. Instead of ice, if I take a diamond, then I1 by R1 is 2.42, I2 by R2 2.42, I3 by R3 2.42, like this. So according to the angle of incidence, angle of refraction also changes, and you will find the same value, right? You can leave the incident ray in any angle for the given pair of angle. For the given pair of medium, you will get the only one value, that is a constant value. So that we call it as a refractive index. Understood? Refractive index. So you have just you have seen it. The refractive index of water is 1.31, refractive index of ice is 1.33, refractive index of diamond is 2.42, refractive index of glass is 1.5, like this. So these all will say that the bending of light or velocity of light is decreasing this much in glass, decreasing this much in water, decreasing this much in the ice, decreasing this much in diamond. Like this, this will show the velocity of light that is decreasing in the respective medium, right? Suppose from the air, if the light is passing in the glass, its velocity decreases by 1.5. Understood? Okay. So refractive index, you know that it is simply the velocity of light in another medium with respect to first medium, or second medium with respect to first medium. You can write that thing like this also. I will rub this thing here. So I think you have understood. To know it more, I will simply move on here like this. This we need it for the second law also. See here, refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium, that is 1.5 in the case of air and glass. Okay. So what it says, refractive index of a glass with respect to air means what, sir? Velocity of light in air divided by velocity of light in glass. So what it give? 3 into 10 to the power of 8 divided by 2 into 10 to the power of 8. So these two get cancelled. 2 ones are 5 is 1 is remained. So it becomes 10, 2 5s are. So you will get to 1.5. You can see here. That means here, even you can say one more point for this. As compared to the air, glass is the density of glass is 1.5 more than the air medium, isn't it? It will give you the speed of a light as well as density of the medium. It gives the information about the speed of light. That means 1.5 lesser than the 1.5 value is giving that it is giving a information that so the velocity of light is decreasing by 1.5 and its density is also more 1.5 more than the air. Like this, it will give a information. Understood? And you know that more the refractive index, like this, as we seen, 1.31 in water, 1.33 in a ice, 1.5 in a glass, 2.42 in a diamond. More the refractive index, more will the bending of light, lesser will be the speed of light in the second medium. Getting my point? Understood? Okay. And you know that here from the glass it is coming back, no, here from the glass it is coming out. Then what will be the speed of light here? Same, you just reverse it. Refractive index of air with respect to glass. Alright, with respect to glass, what you have to do? Simply you have to do the same thing. You take it up and you take it down. Understood? You will get the refractive index of air with respect to glass. Getting my point? Okay. So next, come to the second point. What is that? Second law of refraction. Second law of refraction. See here, incident ray. Second law of refraction. Incident ray, normal drawn at the point of incident, and refracted ray, all three are coplanar. This is the second law of refraction. Okay, right. So let us move on to the refraction in prism. We will see the refraction in prism. How actually the refraction takes place in prism, that we will see it now. Okay. Take this as a prism, incident ray, normal drawn to the AB surface. This is a prism, isn't it? So normal in the sense perpendicular to the AB surface, right? And you know that if it is the normal, from rarer to denser, if the light is entering, it bends towards the normal. It is bending towards the normal. Right, this is the refracted ray, it is the incident ray, refracted ray, and here we will draw one more, the normal to it, right. Then if the light is moving from a denser medium to rarer medium, see here it bends away from the normal. Okay, right. This is what the refraction in prism. Okay, sir. Next, both the laws you had seen it, Snell's law as well as the second law. Now we will move on to the lenses. What are lenses? Okay, what are lenses? Lenses are transparent material, and at least they should have one curved surface. At least any material that should be transparent, and it should have at least one curved surface like this. It should have at least one curved surface like this. See here. It is a transparent one and one curved surface is there. Okay. These type of things we call it as a lens. Understood? Okay. Sir, name this lens, sir. This is one side it is plane, one side this is curve, one side this is plane, one side this is curve, and you are seeing here this side it is bulged one, this side it is showing like a cave like structure. So that's why I call this as a plano-convex lens. Okay, this one plano-concave. So because the this surface looking like a cave. Okay, plano-concave lens. Suppose if you see both the side bulged one and narrow at the end, that we call it as a biconvex, and if it is like this, then biconcave lenses. Getting my point? Okay. So actually we are going to study the refraction in these two lenses only. What are lenses? Lenses are the transparent material, at least they should have one curved surface. Those are called lenses. Okay, right. First we will see some terms in the lenses. Okay, so how do you form the biconvex lenses? Simply by, see here, crossing two sphericals like this. Two sphericals like this. You will find a convex lens. And simply see here, if you add the ends of two spheres, you will get concave lens. Okay, this is the center for this curve, this is the center for this curve. Okay, then I call it as a C1 and C2. Here also C1 and C2. Okay, so the middle point we call it as a optic center. Okay, suppose a ray which is passing through these points, that is O, C1 and C2, we call that as a principal axis. X dash is a principal axis. Okay, and from O to X dash is a principal axis. Okay, from O to C1 is the from O to C1, if you take that, we call it as a R. We call that as a R radius. Okay, we call that as a radius. So here also I will rub these things so that you will get a perfect concave and convex lenses. Distance from here to here is a radius. Already we have studied it in the mirror also. R here also R. Exactly half of this R is F. We will find right. So this is the focal point where actually the refracted rays meet. Right, that point we call it as a focal point, or half of the radius we call it as a focal point. Half of the radius. And the distance we call this as the focal length. So here we are getting 2 centers, so we will give a perfect name to it. So we for the F we give F1, and for this one, so from the here to here distance will be F, and from here to here the same distance will be there. That's why I call it as a 2F1. Right, this is F2, and from here to here it is 2F2. Same like that only I will do the things here. 2F1, this is F1, this is F2, this is 2F2. Okay, right. So I think some terms you people have understood. This is the optic center, principal axis, radius, focal length, and this is the center of curvature for this curve. This is the center of curvature for this curve. So both the side we are taking why? Because these are the transparent one. You can pass the rays from this side or this side. So if you pass the rays from this side, you will get the image this side. If you pass the rays from this side, you will get the image this side. So here also the same case. That's why two sides of the lens we are taking the center of curvature as well as the focal point and the focal length. Understood? Okay. Alright, if so, let us see the image formation in convex lens. So for that we have a rules. That we will discuss now. Rule number 1. This is the principal axis, center of or optic center of curvature 1 or F1. This is F1, I am sorry, this is 2F1, this is F2, this is 2F2. A ray which is coming parallel to the principal axis, when it refracts, it passes through the focal point. This is rule number 1. Rule number 2 I will write here only. A ray which is passing through the focal point, so it is, when it refracts, it will be parallel to the principal axis. Rule number 2. Rule number 3, I will draw in this one only, right? So when a ray of light passing through the center of or optic center, there will not be any refraction. 3. Getting my point? So these are the 3 rules you have to understand. Even in the case of concave lens, same we will find x dash and f1, 2f1, f2, 2f2, right? Here this is the converging lens, this is the diverging lens. Why? Because after refracting, see here, after refracting it will converges the refracted ray, whereas here it diverges the refracted ray. Okay, right. Here it diverges when you drag it behind like this. So the rays which are parallel to the principal axis, they will diverge like this after the refracting, and if you extend them or drag them behind, they will meet, they will pass through the focal point. Okay. Suppose if you take a ray which is passing through this thing, which is passing through, just imagine like this, it is passing through the f1, then after refraction, see here, this will be parallel to the principal axis. Think that here it is coming like this. So after refracting, if you extend this, it was passing through the focal point. After refracting, it becomes the parallel to the principal axis. Okay, and a ray which is passing through the optic center will not get refraction. These are the rules. These are the rules for the formation of images. And why we are calling these are the converging lenses, these are the diverging lenses? Simply they will converge the refracted ray at one point. That's why we call it as a converging lenses. Okay. Now we will see the image formation in convex lens. Convex lens. Okay. So image formation in convex lens. See here, this is the convex lens, optic center O, f1, that means focal point 1, center of curvature 1, focal point 2, center of curvature 2. Suppose a object is at infinite distance, where it is at infinite distance, and rays of light are coming like this. So you know that just as we discussed the rules, the rays of light parallel to the principal axis will pass through the focal point, right? So actually where they are meeting, just see here, where they are meeting at the focal point, means see here, this will come up like this and this will come down, and if you place a screen like this here, definitely you will get an image of this one, that too inverted one. It is a AB one, here you will get a dash B dash one, and at infinite distance, see it is at infinite distance, you will get the image in the focal point, right? So then the properties or the characteristics of the images, if you see, image is highly diminished HD. Second one, object is at infinite distance, image is at focal point. Third one, real. Fourth one, inverted. Getting my point? See, this is the image formation in convex lens if the object is at infinite distance. Second thing we will see. Second case. This is first case, this is second case. What is this? Principal axis, optic center, x dash, focal point 1, center of the curvature 1, focal point 2, center of the curvature 2. Suppose the object is just behind the center of curvature 1, then you see here. So according to the rules, it has to pass through the focal point, right? It has to pass through the focal point. Another one, See here, if it is passing through the focal point, then it has to parallel to the principal axis, then you will get the image here. Where are you getting the image? This is A, B, this is A dash, B dash. Where are you getting the image? Between the F2 and 2F2, right? And the image formed, first one, image formed between F2 and 2F2. Second thing, real. Why? Because really the refracted rays are meeting, real. Third one, inverted, right? And fourth one, size of the image. Size of the image is smaller. This is highly diminished. Here we are getting smaller. This is second case. Let me move on to the third case. See here. This is the third case. I will write here. Principal axis, right? Optic center, x dash, focal point 1, center of the curvature 1, focal point 2, center of the curvature 2, right? Okay. Now I will place the object on center of curvature 1, on 2F1. Okay. See here what happens. It passes through the focal point, right? Then one more radiation will go like this, and it 2F2 I will write here. Definitely it will form a image here, that is A dash, B dash. Same size of image you will get here. So the image properties of image, how it is. First one, real, because refracted rays are really meeting. Inverted. Third one, where the position on 2F2, because object is at 2F1. This is on 2F2. I will write on 2F2. Fourth one, size of the image same as that of the object. Am I right? Yes, same as that of the object. Getting the point? Okay. In the fourth case, we will see the fourth case. Convex, optic center, principal axis, focal point, center of the curvature 1, focal point 2, center of the curvature 2. Just place the object here, right? This is the ray which is passing through it, and one more ray. I simply pass through the focal point, and see here where you are getting the image. Here you are getting the image. This is A dash, B dash, A, B, right? A dash, B dash, this is A, B. See here, where are you getting the image? Behind F2, behind 2F2. Second point, real. Third point, inverted one. Fourth point, size of the image is bigger than the object. This is what the 4 cases. So I will move on to the 5th case. Okay, 5th case. That means if I bring the object a little bit near to the convex lens, then where I will get the image that I want to see here. Okay, right. See here, principal axis of this is what? Optic center F1 and 2F1, So just now we have finished here. We will place the object here, that is A, B, F2, 2F2, right? It has to pass through the focal point, right? Then if I take, it will pass through this point, and see here, somewhere here they will meet like this, A dash, B dash. Write the properties of images. Definitely a enlarged one at an infinite distance. If the object is placed on the F1, you will get the very enlarged at infinite distance, a real and inverted image you will get. Real, inverted, very enlarged at infinite distance, you will get the images. Okay, this is what the case number 5. Just see the case number 6. Okay, there is nothing in this chapter, I tell you. If you understand the main concept, there is nothing in this one. Okay, now F1, 2F1, X dash, F2, 2F2. Okay, right. If I place the object like this here only, see here, it has to pass through the F2. Right. Okay, sir. Then what happens? Another one we will take like this. See, it is simply after refracting, they are not actually meeting. Then when you extend it behind like this, you will get an image like this. Here a image will be formed behind the object, A dash, B dash, bigger one, A, B. So here you cannot find the real image because the refracted rays are not really meeting. Getting my point? Refracted rays are not really meeting. And the erect, bigger erect virtual image, and behind the object you will get a virtual image. I am telling you, you cannot able to catch that on the screen. So this is what the image formation in convex lenses. Okay, suppose if you want to get the very enlarged and inverted real image, then you just keep the object on F, you will get the image like this. Getting my point? Okay. So next we will move on to the concave. Which one? Concave lens. So where we are using these lenses? Of course, we are using these lenses in the eye disorder, in the cameras, in the microscopes, in the telescopes, right? So both the lenses we are using in the eye disorders. It may be myopia, hypermetropia, presbyopia, like this. Okay, so that we will study it in the human eye and colorful world. In the next video we will study about that. Okay then, so even some numericals about this one also we will study it in the next video. Alright, so this is concave and also called as a diverging lens. Why? Because it diverges the rays. This is the principal axis, optic center, F1, 2F1, F2 and 2F2. Suppose the object is at infinite distance, suppose like this, AB, and rays are coming like this and they will diverge like this. Okay, and if you extend it like this here, you will get a very diminished A dash, B dash. So that too virtual image, erect virtual image. If the image is erect, then definitely you will get a virtual only. Virtual image, highly diminished and at F, if the object is at infinite distance. If the object is at infinite distance, then you will get the image at F. Okay, that too erect, virtual and highly diminished. This is one case. Second case we will see here. This is O, X dash, this is F, 2F1, F2, 2F2. Okay, right? Suppose if I place the object like this here, it is going to diverge like this. One more is going through this, or one more going through this like this. I will show you, right? Without any refraction. Then if you extend it like this, refracted ray, so it will you will get an image here, that is A dash B dash. This is A and B. Okay, which type of image you are getting? You are getting a erect and virtual, smaller, and image will be formed between F and O. Understood? So like this, if you want to get the smaller image, virtual image, then you have to use this lens, that is concave. Why? Both the side there will be a cave like structure, that's why we call it as a concave lenses. So concave lenses, in the middle they are having very thin area, whereas in the edge they are having very thick area. Understood? Whereas in the convex we are having the bulgy area in the middle and narrow at the end. Got my point? Okay. So these two cases only we will see in the convex, in the concave lenses, and let us see the formula for the convex and concave lenses and sign conventions for the concave and convex lenses. This is a convex lens. O, X, X dash, F and 2F1, F1, F2 and 2F2. As I told you in the mirror also, in the first video, those who had not seen it, please go and see it. If you take a graph like this is the center, and this side always we will take a positive numbers, this side we will always take a negative numbers, and upper side we will always take a positive numbers, and lower side we will always take a negative numbers, right? So then on this basis only we will give the sign conventions. Suppose the object is at this side, see here, object is here, then A and B, okay, object is at this side, A and B, then it may be the concave or convex. So you take the value for U. This distance we call it as a object distance. U is a object distance. Already we have discussed it. Okay, object distance. And here you are going to form an image here. See here, you are going to form an image. You are going to form an image here. This distance from the O to the object is called as object distance. Okay, U is a object distance. One more radiation which is moving like this. This distance we call it as a V. V is the image distance. So for the convex image distance, see, from 0 to this side, that means positive, you have to take the positive sign for the image. If the object is placed here like this, if the object is placed between O and F, you will get the negative value only. Please do remember, you will get the negative only. You have to take in a negative only. Here what happens? Here minus U, that means object distance also you will take it as a minus only, and even the, see here, even the image is formed here, so that also you have to take it in the negative. Image distance in concave, you have to take the value for the object distance and image distance in minus only, whereas in convex you have to take value for the object minus value for the image in plus, except if the object is placed between F and O. Getting my point? Okay. And you know that the distance between O and F, we call this as the O and F, we call it as a focal length. Okay, focal length. F is a focal length. Okay. So what is the relation, sir? We will see the relation. 1 by F is equal to 1 by V minus 1 by U. Are you remembering the formula for the mirror? 1 by F is equal to 1 by V plus 1 by U. That was formula for the mirror. Here formula for the lenses. Formula for the lenses, we are taking 1 by f is equal to 1 by v minus 1 by u. Getting my point? Okay. And suppose here this is the h2 height and this is the h1. You take this was the h1 and this is the h2. h1, h2. Then magnification. How much actually image is enlarged or diminished? So to find out that one, we have one more formula, that is magnification is equal to h2 by h1 or magnification is equal to v by u. Okay. So these are the formula 1, 2, 3 for the lenses. Understood? Okay. And uses, as I told you, concave and convex lenses, we are using it in the telescopes, microscopes, in the eye disorders. Okay then. So these are the sign conventions. And finally, in this lesson, we are going to study one more last point, that is power of lens. Power of lens. What is power of lens? That we will study, and after that we will finish this lesson. Okay. Only this much points are there, not so much. Okay. And in refractive index, so many materials are having different refractive index. I told you, highest refractive index means highest bending of light, higher the density of a material. Okay. As we discussed in the class itself only, the diamond was having a highest refractive index 2.42. Okay then. So power of lens is denoted by P. Power of lens is nothing but the reciprocal of a focal length of a lens. Reciprocal of a focal length of a lens. Okay. So that is called as power of length. Power of a lens. So we measure power of a lens in diopters. The unit for the power of lens is unit. Power of lens unit is D, that is diopter. Okay. Diopter. This is the one more formula. Power of lens is equal to reciprocal of the focal length of the lens. Okay. We measure this power of lens in diopter. The symbol we use it as a D. Okay. So what is one diopter? One diopter is nothing but 1 by 1 meter of focal length of a lens, right? So power of a lens is nothing but reciprocal of a focal length of a lens in meter. Add this point also, in meter. Reciprocal of a focal length of a lens in meter. Here, what is one diopter? How do you define one diopter? One diopter is nothing but a 1 by 1 meter focal length of a lens. 1 by 1 meter focal length of a lens. Okay. So here, if you take a concave lens, their diopter we take it in a negative. If you take a convex, there we take a diopter in the positive. Okay. This point you just remember. That will be much easier for the numericals. Okay, in the numericals we will consider these things. Understood? So this is what all about the refraction, lenses and image formation in lenses, and we will meet once again with the same formula, and please do remember this formula in the numerical videos. Understood? Even if you are finding any problems or the numerical solution in the, or the problems in the solving of any numericals, simply just apply a logical thinking in that, just apply the formulas, you will very easily solve the problems. Understood? Okay then, please do remember the formulas. Once again I will write the formula for the lens, that is 1 by f is equal to 1 by v minus 1 by u. Okay, and this is the diopter, and power of a lens 1 by f, and magnification is equal to h2 by h1, and the same one we can use v by u. Okay, these are the formula. Please do remember, these will help us in the solving the problems. Understood? Okay then, I hope you have understood everything. So we will meet once again in the next video. Till then, bye bye, take care.